Welcome to day 299 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of April 2019, which was, well, I'm sure you guys have guessed it, but yes, we watched Avengers Endgame.
I
Consider
assume by the time this is posted, it might be the highest grossing film of all time, but I don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
as of because this is the second weekend. We saw it's May 5th right now, and as of yesterday, it passed Titanic and is now number 2.
So we'll see.
So yeah,
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I don't know where to start because there was a lot.
There is a lot. I don't know. I don't think we can do this spoiler free. But
No.
on the other hand, though, by the time this is posted, it would have already have been
It'll
like
be like
a while.
it'll be like a month and a half, and again, it's probably the highest grossing film of all time. So fuck it.
So if you guys haven't seen it and you are watching past this point, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, where to begin?
I know, right?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is that going into this, I knew that Chris Evans' contract had ended and stuff.
Mhm.
So I knew this was the last movie that he was going to appear in and stuff. So I was like, okay, they're gonna probably do something with him, like to tie up the whole Captain America thing and stuff. And especially when they brought up the time thing, I was like, oh, okay, he's definitely going to go back in time at some point. But the way that they did it at the end of the film and the way that they ended it on that note actually made me really happy because at first I thought they were going to do like this thing where it was like he's going to just stay in the past and everything, like, and not even take place for like the Thanos battle. Or if he does take place for the Thanos battle, then it would be like shortly after that or something where he just says bye and disappears.
Mhm.
But the way that they did it at the end of the movie made me really happy and made it feel very complete, like his arc had ended and stuff.
It does stay true to his character because he did the right thing up until
Yeah.
like he had nothing else to do and was like, maybe I'll just stay
Mhm.
where I was supposed to.
Yeah. So that made me like really happy, like seeing him go back to Peggy and then live out his whole life and everything, and evidently he had a very good life and stuff. So that made me really happy, even though he's a widow, but
It's okay.
it's okay. Then the other thing is that while I knew about that, because that's obvious, and I knew that Peter Parker would be coming back and stuff like that, I was not expecting Iron Man and Black Widow to die.
Okay. I was thinking, okay, what's like the hierarchy in my mind of who is most likely to die, right? Of the good guys, because right, okay. And honestly, at the top of that list, I'm thinking Iron Man is most likely going to die. Like that was my thought process, and especially once they show with like the family and how he's like, I don't want to lose them and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, he's gonna die. So like, I don't know. I had this feeling, and I was right. So yeah, okay. Well, no, I'll get to that later. But yeah, I kind of agree with you on Black Widow because okay, so okay, we know that there's going to be a Black Widow movie for Phase 4, probably like in 2020.
Are they gonna revive?
No.
I
So
feel
it's
like it's more of a past
yes,
thing,
it's going to be a
probably.
thing about her past. I think that's confirmed. And so like you think, okay, that's fine, but at the same time I'm like, but why do that movie now?
And not before.
Right, so
when she
what
was alive.
Right, so I feel like what they should have done, and I know it's like too late now, but is that they should have made the Black Widow movie and released it instead of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Because again, I have nothing against Captain Marvel, but to be honest, in this movie, she doesn't really do very much.
Yeah.
You can kind of
guess
just remove her, which is like, again, that doesn't mean that like she's bad or that like the movie's bad for it. It's just like, so it just, and I feel like considering I know that they've said for Phase 4, one of the things they want to focus on is like more kind of extraterrestrial kind of stuff. I feel like that would have made more sense as like we're opening Phase 4 with a Captain Marvel like introduction,
Right.
and then you have the Black Widow thing, which gives you the backstory, and then that makes this death and the sacrifice for the Soul Stone more powerful. Because one of the things they emphasize is that she has no one like else to come back to. So it's like I feel like they would have made that tragedy stronger if we had her past movie already.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
And again, maybe that's just up to the fact that like they just couldn't get the pieces together quick enough to do it. Maybe they wanted to do it, but they couldn't. You know, I don't know, right? And it's not like it's a oh my god, the movie sucks now or anything. Of course, not like that. But like it did. That was like kind of probably the biggest thing that bothered me. And again, that even saying the biggest thing, it's still a very small thing.
Yeah.
Because I was actually surprised. Well, not surprised, but like the whole thing about her and Clint basically like fighting to prove who should die. Like it was a weird dynamic that was like but it was weird in a good way. So
yeah,
I kind of hope that if they had done the Black Widow movie before, or even like the one that they're planning, I hope that Clint does show up prominently in it, because like first of all, he wasn't in Infinity War at all. Second, he had a very interesting like change to his character in this movie, and I don't know if maybe the whole thing is that like they were kind of setting him up to like take on what Black Widow used to be, which is like this kind of heartless assassin supposedly beforehand, but then she became, you know, like I guess she just opened up with having people around her who cared about her, supported her. I wish that she could have survived. Like the person that I thought might die, like even during the movie, was I thought Hulk might die, because he finally reconciled his whole thing with Hulk and Bruce Banner.
That makes sense.
And then he did the snap, and then like it would have been sad if he died, but he also finished his arc. I don't know, because I feel like Black Widow was always like the supporting character, and she never really had her own
thing going
movie to like elevate her, or her own motive. It was always like she was always like the right hand man, because she was the right hand man to Iron Man, and then to Captain America. Like she was always their voice of reason whenever they needed her, and then if Hawkeye was there, they were always like kind of like the
and then also buddy. For like Hulk in the Age of Ultron movie.
Yeah, so
yeah. And
yeah, I was just very bummed that she died.
Yeah, because again, at the end of the movie, she's dead, Iron Man's dead, and like that's
Vision is still dead.
Okay, yeah, I was like, wait, I think I wasn't certain about that, but yeah, Vision is, but that he was like apparently like a real person in the past, so that was like kind of interesting. Yeah, like Jarvis.
Yeah.
So that was
I think it was more of. I don't think it was like a real person. I think it's more of like because Jarvis was originally the like computer system,
right? So like the inspiration, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, the inspiration.
Yeah.
So Stark just took his voice and I guess just used his voice, like his voice bank, like I don't know, like Hatsune Miku or something.
Yeah, and actually, okay. Speaking of that, so the very, very end of this movie, there's no like after credits scene, but at the very end there's like a sound, and I thought it sounded like those like bells that you hear like in like a pier or a boat a lot of the time. But apparently, I was looking up, and apparently it's like the same sort of sound that was in Iron Man 1 when Tony was making like the first suit in the cave. It's like so like the clanging of like metal or whatever, right? And so a lot of people are thinking it was just like a callback to that because that's, you know, the whole point. But some people are saying that like it's a hint that like maybe somehow he's like not dead, or that like he has he like Jarvis'd himself or something, and it's like I really hope they don't do that.
No.
I really hope they're just like, he's dead, that's it. The bare minimum, the most I could possibly see is maybe like, you know, 10,
if we see him
20...
in a flashback.
Well, that, or like if you want to go like 10, 15 years later and his like daughter kind of becomes a similar person, right? In terms of some suit. I
would like if that happened, like she took up his mantle after, just...
So that's a maybe, but besides that, like, I really don't want them to bring him back, like, in any other way. because that just feels it cheapens it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Captain is not coming back.
yeah,
Like, he came back, but he's not.
He's an old man now.
Yeah, he's an old man now, so.
yeah, and then okay, so another thing you were talking about characters or actors whose like contracts ran out, right? So yeah, there I knew it was Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Hemsworth. Is that their contracts were ending? But I'd also heard that Chris Hemsworth has specifically said that like he's totally down to go for more. And so it seems like that's kind of what they're setting up here, and with like the end of this. And so what I'm wondering is that, so I was looking this up, and like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is like absolutely happening, right?
Yeah.
So, but I also saw that apparently now there are talks of like possibly doing like a Thor 4 that like also brings like the director from Ragnarok back, and like it'd be kind of similar to that. So
I like that director for Thor.
Yeah, so now I'm just wondering like, I'm thinking like how they should do this, because I'm like, I would think it would be kind of neat to just actually see him with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a nice dynamic with like Groot and Rocket in particular.
Yeah, so
and also with Quill too, because he kind of counters Quill.
Yeah.
I'm happy that when he and Gamora, like past Gamora, saw each other, she just didn't recognize him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was glad that what was it? But yeah, no, I'm just kind of wondering like, how are they going to do this then? Are they trying to is he going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3? But I'm like, if he is, then it feels kind of weird that he would then have his own kind of Thor movie later. I feel like, so like, not 100% sure they're going to do that. So maybe like,
they drop him off somewhere or something?
Yeah, maybe he's in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as like, kind of like how Hulk was in Thor Ragnarok, kind of that sort of amount. Okay. And then maybe Thor 4 is like set after that or something. I don't know, right? But yeah, that
Valkyrie comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Speaking of Thor, fucking Thor, like calling out a dude like playing video games, like fucking hilarious. Oh, Fat Thor is amazing.
I like that. I like all the homages to like when they went into the past and they showed like various scenes, like the Captain versus Captain scene.
Yeah. And I love how because they both see each other, and then he's like, and they,
Loki.
Yeah, and then Catherine is like, when the past self was like being like grandiose about it, and he's like, come on, man, like just stop with the. He's just like, yeah, okay.
Oh, speaking of Loki, you guys saw him disappear with the Tesseract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean something, or is it just like past Loki fucking around like usual?
I don't know. I could maybe somehow
I feel like it could be ambiguous, because I mean, you can't have Thor without Loki.
Well, see, the whole thing is that that's supposed to be like another timeline, right?
Right.
So I don't know if somehow, again, they maybe for like a Thor 4 or whatever, it's like, oh, that Loki somehow like switches timelines. But again, I kind of feel like that's cheapening of it. So I don't know. Yeah, it was an interesting kind of thing, though.
But the Tesseract is not the time stone.
It's not. But I thought it was kind of
it's the space stone, so you could think that could be the thing to actually move him through space or through like timelines, space lines, whatever. So yeah, maybe, but I don't know. It did definitely seem like an interesting thing that they focused on, where it's like, oh, that Loki caught the Tesseract and pissed off, and then that was it. We never saw what happened to him. So it was like, yeah. But actually, what I
love how like they were so sure of themselves, like Ant-Man and Iron Man, and then like Hulk comes through the staircase.
No stairs. Yeah.
And like Captain comes out with like the Loki staff, and he sees them both in a car, and they're like, "We screwed up, man," and he's like, "How? Why?"
Yeah, I do. I really like the whole time travel thing. Like, I like how they didn't just, oh, we're back to the scene from before, right? Yeah. They didn't just do that. They added a lot to those scenes.
Yeah.
So that was nice in terms of, it wasn't just, here's the characters also in the scene again. It was, they added stuff around it. And so that was nice.
I liked like that one. I liked the like one with Peter Quill where you see, because that was like the opening for Guardians of the Galaxy, but they actually made it so that you don't hear the music.
And then Gamora's like, really him? And he's like, well, it was that or a tree, so... Yeah, and it's so there's that. But yeah, and then let's see what other characters I can think of. Oh, this is kind of someone who again I haven't liked in another movie of when they were in, but I like Ant-Man in this.
I do too.
Because yeah, in the first Ant-Man movie, I'm like, you're just kind of annoying. But in this, and I mentioned, I actually don't remember if I said this at one point, but I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp on my own, and I actually like him a decent amount in that one too. So yeah, I like him in here. I like everybody. To be fair.
Yeah. Oh my god, the I don't know. Do we want to talk about the final battle here now, or talk about other things first?
I don't know. I'm trying to think what else I could mention. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what other characters are there. I don't know. Oh, okay. Actually, okay. There's one other thing that bothered me a tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
They did basically nothing with Okoye.
Yeah, I wanted her to do something. I wanted her to be like an honorary Avengers or something, because like she was like the only one who was left besides like M'Baku, and she had to like, because the entire royal family is gone. Shuri is gone. T'Challa is gone.
Yeah.
Probably the mother is gone.
Yeah. So
and she's just like, well.
There's an earthquake underwater.
And and literally she was just like, that was that one hologram. She's like, well, it's an earthquake. We kind of don't do anything about it. And it's like, okay, well then what are you doing though? Because again, it's that, and then the final battle, and that's it. It's like it felt weird because I'm pretty sure she's even on the poster, and like everyone else on the poster does a decent amount of stuff. But yeah, she does like.
Why isn't she? Yeah.
Because I feel like that would have been more interesting
to
bring her along for some of the like time travel stuff.
I guess like another thing about her is that she is a little bit more like traditional, like in her trio of her. T'Challa and Shuri, like she's definitely the one who's the most in her ways traditional. So having her out of her element, maybe still with the other Avengers, just trying to figure out what she could do to bring back like her best friend and the sister. That would have been really interesting. Like I don't know, maybe if they had I don't know. I guess the thing is that they didn't really know like who to put her with. In the group?
Yes, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe...
Like, seeing her in New York during the original Avengers, like, scenes, that would have been kind of funny.
Yeah, I could see that. Or even, like, with, what's, like...
Nebula.
Yeah, I feel like that actually maybe would have been a good place for her. I don't know. It felt, like, weird. Is it, like, she's not there?
Yeah. Especially, like... Okay, Captain Marvel, she disappears for a while, but she at least said why she's disappeared for a while.
Yeah. And she does, like, and she brings Tony back early on, and then there's a bit of focus on her during the final battle, because again, like, Okoye is in the final battle, but is there ever, like, a focus on her? Like,
not really, no.
So, yeah.
They could have also maybe done a thing where, since we lost... Black Widow pretty early on, then she could have taken that slot that she left behind or something. Like, because we would be missing one member, so if she came in maybe for some reason and she just filled the role that would have been left for Natasha, then that would have also been interesting.
I have a better idea.
Have Okoye have her own movie.
I was gonna say, because it felt odd when during the final battle where she appeared with like T'Challa and Shuri coming out through the portal and stuff. But I think a better way they could have done it, even if this isn't like a humongous role, but it's still like an important role, and at least she would have appeared, would have been, even if she didn't go with like everyone else back in time and stuff, if she was at least like home base, kind of, if that makes sense. So because instead the Hulk like pressed the button and then rushed back on to the thing, but if they had her there and her pushing the buttons and everything and stuff, then she would at least, and she could be like home base and like be like talking to everybody and everything, if that makes sense.
I could see the argument. I could see the argument that like she's not like the sciencey person, and it makes more sense in that sense that Hulk should do it. But then maybe you could say, okay, what if this whole thing with the time set, why not, maybe they're like, we need to build this, but we don't have the stuff, let's go to Wakanda to build the stuff, right? And then it makes more sense in that sense. So yeah, again, is it a huge problem? No, it's not, but it is something that we noticed, and we're like, wait a minute. So
I was sad that she wasn't there.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else in terms of like individual characters? Okay, actually there is one other thing I want to say. And that's Thanos. He isn't really in the movie that much.
I guess the thing is that it's not technically his movie.
Right, so at first I was like, I kind of feel like disappointed about this. I'm like, wait a minute, we literally had a Thanos movie. That was Infinity War. Infinity War was completely Thanos, and that was his whole thing. And so it's like the fact that he's not in this that much, and there's not like some really interesting character development. It's like, well, we had that already. So you don't really need it here for it to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, at first I was kind of like, but now I'm like, actually, it's fine. So yeah.
I actually like that, and I found it hilarious when like Scarlet Witch was like, "You took everything from me," and he's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And then she just goes and fucks him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like, especially in terms of characters, this really does focus on like the original Avengers characters.
Yeah.
With like some of the other surviving people, a lot of them along on the side. So I do think that focus was the best place to focus for this, especially the people whose arcs are basically concluded. So Steve and Tony. But yeah, so I like it. I was just kind of wanted to mention that because I don't know, I could see that maybe being a complaint that some people might have. I don't know. I haven't like read any like spoilery reviews or anything, so I don't know what people specifically like or dislike. I mean, I know people overall like it a lot, but but yeah, I guess should we talk about the final climax
That was
battle?
awesome.
Yes.
Like, I normally am not the one to bring up the battles. That's usually Valen's thing, but this was a battle where I was like, oh my god, this is wonderful, and it's actually for that battle that I want to rewatch the movie again.
Yeah.
Like, seeing all the portals open up, I was like crying. I was just like,
yeah, no, honestly.
Oh my god!
Because it's literally like fucking everybody. Like, even, the random ass, like, it had like a bunch of random people from, I always forget what it's called, the Doctor Strange people. That
like,
had a bunch of them.
Like, Cumberbatch, he opened his portal, and you saw like Drax and all the Guardians of the Galaxy people, and then Peter came forward.
Yeah. But no, not even just the individual characters, but a lot of like the background like groups, right?
Yeah.
So you see like the Wakandan armies.
Too, from like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. Yeah. There. So them. Yeah. The Wakanda people, the Doctor Strange people. I feel like there was someone else. There was another group of people as well. Anyway. Oh, the Asgardian like Valkyrie stuff. So yeah, it's Valkyries. Like all that kind of stuff was there. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And then, yeah, the fight was just to see everything come together. And the fact that Captain America got Mjolnir was like...
Every theater when that happened, there was like cheering when like he held like the hammer and everything. Yeah. Everyone was like, yes!
Okay, so remember in Age of Ultron where like they were like trying to fucking around trying to pick up Thor's hammer and like no one could do it?
And it moved a little bit.
Well, so I didn't even notice that like when that happened in the movie, but apparently I was watching some videos and I just remember someone like said that it kind of moved a little bit when like Steve tried to pick it up, and I was like, huh. And so that like comes full circle here, and it's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So
I found it like also kind of like interesting when Thor before leaving got like his hammer back because it got destroyed previously.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he did bring it back too.
Yeah, yes. Actually that whole thing with like him and his mom with that was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Considering that whole, because that was the whole, that scene was around Thor: The Dark World, and I said before that for that movie, like, his mom dies and you kinda don't care just because how the movie presents it. You're just like, oh, okay. And it's like, that's what you should care. It's Thor's mom, right? So it's like, oh, they actually like kinda did it right here. You know? So
now you do care.
Yeah. So that was nice. But yeah, the battle was great. They still continue the whole thing about how like Thanos is like really strong, but he's not invincibly strong.
Yeah.
Right? So I like that.
I like the scene where they showed all the women too.
Oh yeah,
Like surrounding little Peter.
yeah,
It's like all the mom group, the mom patrol.
yeah. Oh my god, okay. Then also, because Pepper was there with like her own suit, and I was just like, damn it! Iron Man 3, why did you, It's reminded me of that again.
Oh my god, see her in like the, I guess, Iron Lady suit was great.
Yes, I'm just like, damn it, I want, why wasn't there like
like Pepper Iron Man 4 or something.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully now Pepper might take up like Tony's role. Maybe?
The thing is, her character is just not that kind of person. So
That's
I
true.
don't see that. That's why I'm thinking it would make more sense for like his daughter, because like her character, well, she doesn't really have a character as of now, right? So yeah, I think that
So in the
would work better.
Yeah,
But
she might
maybe it could be
be a
something.
favorable teacher.
Yeah, maybe kind of like how they did it within the first Ant-Man, but you know, better. But yeah, so that I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention. I forgot. But yeah, there's a lot to keep track of in terms of that stuff. So yeah, like okay, this is, you know, a 3-hour movie, and like the thing is, it doesn't like feel short or whatever but at the same time it didn't feel too long. It's like there was a lot that happened, but a lot needed to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
it was paced really well. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the Lord of the Rings stuff, where it's like, yeah, they needed to show all of what they needed to show.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, is there any loose end like at all in terms of stuff here? Again, the only thing I think of is maybe like Loki with a Tesseract, and like that's it. Like, of course, there's the
everything else is like kind of set up for the future movie that
right. Yeah. So there's the clear setup, and then besides the clear setup, there's like the sort of like emotional and like societal thing of like, okay, now that everyone's back, because they didn't like erase those 5 years where people were gone, right?
Yeah.
So now that everyone's back, like, kind of now what? And I've heard that like that's kind of what people think like Spider-Man: Far From Home is going to touch on that. So
that makes sense, because that's the aftermath,
right? Yeah. And so that's why that's kind of like the narrative reason as to why I've heard people argue as to like why that they decided to put Far From Home as like the actual end of Phase 3. I also think the big reason that they did that is because it would be weird to have, oh, here's Avengers Endgame, the end of Phase 3, and then in 2 months we start Phase 4, but then there isn't anything for 10 months for another movie. You know what I mean? It makes a lot more sense to just wait to 2020 for Phase 4. So, but yeah, so that's I think that's kind of reasonable. But besides that, yeah, like, is anything? I don't think so. Actually, did you know that there was like the 5-year time jump, or no?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought that they went like a couple of weeks later. That they were like, okay, let's do this. You know,
I appreciated the fact that like it wasn't like they did the 5 years later first, and then went to go find Thanos. Like, it was like, okay, we finally found Thanos. Like 5 years later, oh god, he doesn't have any of the stones. And then they went to all the action. They actually did a thing where, okay.
They found Thanos right away.
Yeah, they found him.
Well, it was a few weeks. Like they said, I think it was like 23 days. I think so. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, because it's like they find him and then they kill him, and it's like, well, shit. Now
but
what?
That doesn't solve it.
Yeah. So that was interesting how they did that, and then the 5 years later, and I like how it showed them, you know, because I think I've seen some people say that like the first half of this movie is like kind of slow, and it's like it is, but it's not slow in a bad way. Right?
Yeah,
because it really shows
like letting it sink in.
Yeah,
kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. And it shows what all the characters are doing and how they're coping, or if they're coping, and, you know, figuring that stuff out. I do think it's kind of funny that, like, basically the whole, like, actual catalyst for how all of this was solved was because of fucking Ant-Man. Which is, so it's kind of funny that, because, like, it comes off of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which, if you just watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, it feels like, you know, oh yeah, it's its own thing, okay, whatever, right? And it's like, oh, this kind of started all of this.
Yeah.
Huh. So.
Ant-Man and that rat.
Oh yeah, the rat that opened up the portal for him to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I feel like there should be more to say, but I don't know what else there is. I guess okay.
It's just, if you watched everything else.
Yeah.
You should definitely watch this. I remember watching the first Iron Man movie, and they were saying how they, like, all these movies, even from back then and everything, it was all like leading up to this and stuff, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, the fact that they managed to make 22 movies that at worst are like mixed, right?
Yeah.
And the vast majority are good, with many of them being very good, is extremely impressive. And I am kind of wondering, like, you know, going forward for the next couple phases, because like there's a lot of kind of speculation now on like, okay, who's gonna be like the next like big bad guy, right? Who's gonna be the new Thanos for the next stuff? And I'm like, are they actually gonna do that? Like, part of me thinks that they might not, or maybe like they'll wait a bit and not.
I feel like they will wait.
Well, because I've seen some people saying, oh, because like Thanos, you could say, was the ultimate bad guy for phases 1, 2, and 3. So who's going to be the ultimate bad guy for 4, 5, and 6? And I'm like, I think they might not even do that. They might have like phase 4, which is just kind of smaller and is kind of its own thing, and just here's some stuff that's happening. I guess there's some connections, but there isn't really any build up. And maybe start building things up, like maybe even just start the build up in like 5 or 6, and not have like a big bad until maybe even like phase 7 or 8. Again,
I think that would be a better way to do it, because the problem with some, like, okay, maybe I don't know about TV shows because I don't really watch like Western animation that much, but like a bad thing about anime is that for a lot of shonen series, they have like big bad after big bad after big bad, and it gets really tiring, and there is no lull, there is no like personal character growth. Because the thing is that like phase 1, 2, and 3, it culminated with a bunch of characters that you knew really well, like Steve Rogers. You know him so well. You know Tony Stark really well. Like through their movies, you got to know like Natasha Romanoff very well, and then like with the other Avengers, we have now a new set of characters who were introduced. Like Black Panther was just introduced. The new Spider-Man was just introduced, so they have to get their footing. They have to figure out who they are, besides just being these new heroes, because they are very new and they kind of don't really know who they are yet. So we need some time to recover, because we currently don't have like a core Avengers anymore. I mean, we don't really know if like Bruce Banner will want to be the like do his usual thing anymore. We don't know if like Clint Barton's gonna like put up his bow, or if he's gonna like go back to what he was doing. We don't know what's gonna happen to them.
I mean, for Clint, I think he will probably just go back to his family. That makes sense for him. Yep.
I don't know what Bruce Banner's gonna do, though.
I could see them kind of just stopping with him, just because, again, like you said, like his arc is kind of complete now.
Yeah.
I could maybe have him kind of as like a background, like kind of science person working in S.H.I.E.L.D. or maybe.
And then Thor's he's on his own journey right now with like the Peter Quill's group and stuff.
I'm not sure what they're gonna do with it. Okay, because here's what we know. Okay, we know, of course, Spider-Man: Far From Home comes out early July, and then we know that there's gonna be a movie on Black Widow's past, a Doctor Strange sequel, a Black Panther sequel. That there is also going to be a third Spider-Man movie sometime after that. There's Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then there's something... Oh, there's Shang-Chi, which they're making, so that's like a new character.
Yes.
And
Asian representation.
And then also apparently something that's probably going to also be 2020. It seems like the Black Widow movie and then also this are going to be 2020. And that is something, the Eternals, which is apparently like... It's kind of Captain Marvel-esque in terms of like someone with those kinds of powers, I think, but it's like a group of people. I don't know the characters really that well, so again, so it's kind of like setting up new characters while also building up some of the newer characters, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's fair, and because I've seen people say, oh, now that Disney owns Fox, you can have like the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, and it's like, yes, but I really don't think they should do anything with them for Phase 4 at all.
Yeah.
Because they need to kind of give the characters here like a bit more of a breathing room, and then maybe start stuff in Phase 5 with them. Maybe. I've seen some people say that like, because one of the whole things for Fantastic Four is like Doctor Doom is like kind of the main bad guy there, and that they should kind of bring him in for that. And I'm thinking like, sure, but again, I think they really shouldn't do that until at least Phase 5.
Yeah, I also agree, because the thing is too is that when we were sitting for this movie, there were some previews, and there was an X-Men like there's an X-Men movie coming out.
Right,
And
so
I feel like,
Yeah.
that's the thing I'm really not sure about when it comes to the X-Men, where it's like, what are you going to do that, like, the X-Men movies haven't, like, already done?
I
Right.
have mixed feelings about X-Men just because like they are kind of their own thing already, but I know one of the videos you showed us was like it explained like why they were able to use the Maximovs, but I think if they were to introduce some X-Men, it should just be the ones that you haven't seen yet and introduce them like maybe through Wanda or something, because of course like she's now all alone.
yeah.
Yeah, because
It's-
like if they tried to be like, oh, here's like a new Wolverine, it's like,
No,
that's
no.
no, that wouldn't work, right?
Wolverine has like 50 different movies. You can see him everywhere else. Just no more Wolverine.
Yeah, so
Please.
stuff
It's
like
not-
that is just.
It's like that because it's a thing where, okay, we've seen X-Men and Fantastic Four and everything. We don't want to just jump right into that. Like, a lot of these superheroes I had never even like heard of. Well, I mean, like Iron Man, yeah, like, and the Hulk, but I honestly did not know who Captain America was before all this. I didn't know who Black Widow was, Hawkeye, Black Panther,
Yeah.
etc., etc. And it's like it's interesting learning about these like other superheroes and stuff, and like gaining them, and then like you said, Fallon, maybe phase 5 or something, you can start bringing them in and stuff, but definitely not phase 4.
I think
I don't think.
I think Fantastic Four could work decently well because again there
They
are
fucked with Fan Four Stick.
well right, so there are, there 4 of them, right? There's a fuckload of
Yeah.
X-Men, right? So that's one problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then with the Fantastic Four, also again the movies that they have had have not been very good. So it
No.
it makes sense that they can just be like, all right, fuck it, we're starting these guys new, right? But assuming the X-Men have had their own thing, and like a lot of the X-Men films weren't very good, but several of them were pretty good, right? Like the one we saw. So
Yeah.
and again, since that's already very well established, it would just feel really weird to just
To just like
To have
start
another
Yeah.
version of them, I guess. Like with Fantastic Four, they could easily do what they did with Peter Parker here, which is
Yeah.
like this is like child Peter Parker. He's very wide-eyed and now he's fatherless. But I'm still really sad about that. Okay, I'm not prepared if they have any scenes with like him thinking about Tony in Far From Home. I'm gonna die, but. They do have a good opportunity to reinvent the Fantastic Four origin story, and just if they don't, they can also not do the origin story like they did with Spider-Man and just have it jump into like, here's these 4 people, this is what they do, and this is their dynamic.
Yeah.
That might be interesting to see. Like, just jump into their dynamic and just show us what they can do without the constraints of like their past, without the burdens of their past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a smart idea for like a Fantastic Four stuff starting phase 5 and going from there. But yeah, I think they should okay, I really, as of now, I really think they should not do like anything with the X-Men for like a
No.
while, if
Yeah.
ever, honestly.
No.
Or if just like continuing again, like kind of what you said about maybe introduce a few of the characters here and there as like
Yeah, that's
part
what
of the
I
team,
think.
and not just like here are the X-Men, here's all 20 of them, right? You know what I mean? Don't just do
Yeah,
that.
just like here's a mutant that you might not know about from like the other franchise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what happened with Wanda. I don't know if Scarlet Witch is like super well known.
Yeah, so any smaller ones like that, and not even they don't even like cool, just like how Wanda, like she doesn't have like her own movie, right? Like that's fine,
Yeah.
right? Because like, she can just be kind of like a side person in the stuff. So like if they do stuff like that and they sprinkle it throughout, then like that could work. But yeah, I am curious to see where they go with this though, because there's definitely places they can go. So, but it's also interesting for me because again, like I don't know like the Marvel like comics storylines that like, because like I've seen people, I'm gonna get this wrong so I'm not gonna really describe it, but like because people like saying, oh, what are they gonna do after this, right? And I've heard people throw around like Secret Wars, which is apparently some comic thing where like some guy, again I don't know this, some guy kind of like the whole thing is that he like captures like everybody and that like forces like all of them to fight each other, and it's like that is kind of what people think is like this could be kind of a next step up. But again, I don't know any of the details. Like honestly, that in itself just sounds kind of gimmicky, but I assume there's more to it than that. So, but again, that's something that they really need to like. They can't do that. Like even obviously they're not going to do that like Phase 4, but even I don't think they should do that even in like 5 or 6. Like that would be like even later.
No.
So
No.
yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go. I hope, and I don't think so because again, I feel like if they got too far, too over their heads or whatever, they would have done it already, right?
Yeah.
Considering DC, that's what they did. So, yeah. But actually, what I'm curious about now is like, because there's a bunch of like the TV shows, right? So I'm kind of wondering, like, do I maybe want to check some of that? I don't know. Like, I don't know what people think.
I'm thinking about that too, because apparently there's Agent Carter, and then there's like
There's like a Sam and Bucky show coming out now.
Yes,
I think, right?
And actually, there's going to be a Hawkeye show.
Really?
Yeah, there is. There's that. There's a bunch of
Agents of Shield.
Yes, there's Agents of Shield, and there's like a bunch of shows on like smaller characters. Like I know there's like there actually like is a show for Daredevil. There's one for Jessica Jones. There's there's gonna be a Ghost Rider show. Yes,
really? With
yes.
Nick Cage?
No, but
Damn it!
Yeah.
You got so excited.
But still though, like right. So yeah, so I'm kind of curious to maybe check some of those out and see. I was apparently looking because like, I found some image that was like from like 2014 or something where they revealed like their initial plans for Phase 3, and one of the things in the plan was this thing called like the what was it called? Inhumans or something, as like a movie for Phase 3, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And apparently, again, it was something that like they were gonna do, but then they ended up not doing it, and then they ended up turning into a show. And so it was one of the shows, and I looked at the show, and apparently like it has like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and everyone says it sucks. So I'm like, okay, I guess don't watch that one, right? But like, but I assume, especially like Agents of Shield is like, it's like on its like 8th season or something, so I assume like that's pretty good at least. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where that comes in, because apparently like the woman who's like been with like Nick Fury the last couple movies. Like, remember in
Maria?
Yeah, like she's like I think the main character of Agents of Shield.
Oh.
So it like gets into that more, and I don't know. Maybe I'll look into that, but I'm not sure. But well, okay. I think final question for this.
Yeah.
Do you like this? Do you like this more than Infinity War?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was a little bit unsure, because main reasons being, again, there were a few of the small problems like with like Natasha and Okoye that I had for this, and also that like I do think Thanos in Infinity War is like really good, but I do think that this does have like the emotion and the character moments and stuff like that like are in this. I do think like brings it up a little bit. It's very close for me, but
I think overall I hate Thanos. I'm not someone who feels any sympathy for him, so
I mean I don't either, but I just think he's a really good character as like a piece of shit, but yeah.
Yeah, I hate him, so seeing his face a lot less in this movie was great. And I mean, I'm just much closer to just, like Steve Rogers as a character. I had this journey with like Tony Stark because there were moments I didn't like him, but then towards the end of his like, I guess, life arc, he grew on me a lot, especially like with Peter, and the scene where he was washing the dishes and then he had the picture of Peter and they had the bunny ears and his name was upside down. Like that killed me. And just like, I guess like the whole thing with me is that I prefer, I guess, narratives about the characters that I like more than the villains that I am made to hate, because I guess the thing is that I get a lot more payoff just seeing like the characters that I like either succeed or see where their life takes them in the end. Like even if it's cut short, if it's in a way that's at least nuanced, like maybe with Natasha it was not set up correctly because her movie should have come before this moment, but seeing her with Clint fighting to see who dies was. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was gonna say, for me, it's also a step up because, as I mentioned, I watched the first Iron Man movie in theaters, so that's way back when, and stuff. So it's just surreal, and I had watched all these characters, and this actually feels like. I was telling Mai this on the way back and everything. Usually when actors or actresses' contracts and stuff, the movies will either cut them out entirely and fabricate a reason why, or they will be okay, here's a death, they died and stuff, and then that's kind of it. But here it's you feel like they've properly put them to rust, kind of.
Yeah.
Iron Man, okay, you feel like he had his proper ending. Captain, you feel like he had his proper ending and stuff like that, and it's okay, I feel like this chapter has closed and everything. So for me, that's what elevated it more above Infinity War and stuff like that. Just feeling that sense of closure and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. With that.
And that battle.
Yeah.
That battle.
Yeah.
That battle.
Yeah, so I agree. I was not 100% sure at first, but especially after talking about it, even with voicing some of the problems I do have. Again, they're minor problems. Because again, it's not just, I feel like I mentioned this at some point, but you can't look at a movie by just saying, how many things did quote unquote it do wrong, right? That's not the way to look at a movie. You have to also, so, yeah. Again, I really like both a lot. But yeah, I do like this more. And I generally find, as long as it's not terrible, but the actual finale is the best part,
Yeah.
So pretty much I'm thinking of any sort of the DC animated shows that I've seen, the endings, the big old climactic things for those are most of my favorite episodes, particularly the finale one for the Superman show and for Justice League are just so good. Oh my god. So yeah. But yeah, so this is definitely up there with the very best of the stuff. So it's good job. Marvel, you get claps. Clap, 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 clap.
Actually, we should keep clapping because, believe it or not, guys, again, this is $2.99 and next is 300.
Yes, we have one more. And should we just say now that I'll just say it. So
yeah,
because of stuff, again, the last video of this is coming out, June 11th, right? That's the whole point of this. That's my birthday. So
yeah.
That's not a lot of time to really confirm which movie is going to be for sure the highest grossing of the month, especially since 2 fairly big movies are coming out the last 2 weekends of May. So it's they will have been out for 1 or 2 weekends. It's not enough to judge. So we're kind of going to be guessing which one is the highest grossing for May because we're not really going to know for sure. And also, just looking at the options that we have, one of them we really want to see, so fuck it. We're seeing that one.
Yeah.
So, and from that, you can probably guess which one it will be, considering...
Based on our pictures?
Yeah,
and based on our pictures, we swear that it was not our intention.
No, okay, I have to bring this up. So, I remember, as a joke, I said that we will watch this for movie 300. And we actually are. Oh my god, I can't believe this. But we'll... So, tune back in tomorrow for the last movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
We just want to be the very best.
No one ever was.